What's going on, everybody? It's May 8th, 2023. It's just right about lunchtime, about 11:30. I'm going over to a call right now where I'm gonna change out a drain pan on a upflow gas furnace with air conditioning coil on top. It's in an apartment complex, kind of government housing place. We installed all these units back in 2013, 2014, and we have had non-stop drain pan issues with these things. We've gotten actually quite good at changing them out. So that's what I'm going to go over with today. We went over the things, over and over again to see if maybe the furnaces are making excessive heat or something like that, and we just couldn't find anything wrong why these drain pans keep failing prematurely. So, yep, that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to change out one of these drain pans. Super simple. And like I said, we've gotten quite good at them. This is probably one of the easiest drain pans that you'll ever see. So, stay tuned. I'm about to do that right now. All right, we got our exhaust taken off. We have got our condensate drain cut. And we've got our screws out of the cover of our evaporator coil. So we're going to pull that cover right off, and that will expose our A coil. And it's a microchannel A coil, very light, not much to it, all aluminum construction. And we're going to take the screws out of the A-frame cover. And now that has exposed the inside of the coil. And we still have those two pain-in-the-ass screws there in the back. What really comes in handy is a long screwdriver just like this one. I've borrowed that from a coworker. I do not own that, but that makes it a lot easier to get those screws out. It's not impossible to get them out, but it does make it a lot easier with this longer 5/16 nut driver. All right, so we got both of them out, and now the coil is free of the drain pan. You can see it's going to move around a little bit, and all we really have to do is lift that up and then pull that pan out. And yeah, it's pretty gross right there. But all right, so we've lifted it up and now we've started to pull it out. We've got it almost all the way out. We just want to be careful not to damage the coil. I'm not really worried about damaging the drain pan because that's the old one. We got a little bracket there we want to kick off to the side. And we're just going to finesse this thing out the rest of the way. And once we get it out, we're just going to bring it outside and we want to inspect it to see exactly where that crack happened. We got this old pan out here. Here's our crack right here. And it runs down there and then runs along the base here. See if there's any more. Yeah, I've seen these things crack nearly in half before. I don't know what it is in this application. There's a little better look at the crack. It's just that seam broke apart. I don't know what it is about this application, but it does not like the drain pans just crack. So, all right, I'm gonna get my fittings off this one. I'll put it on our new one and we'll slide the new one in place. All right, we're just gonna inspect where the new drain pan's gonna go. You can see by the rust, it was leaking for quite some time. And we're gonna go ahead and slide our new drain pan in, being very careful not to damage it, because they're brittle as it is, so I really don't want to damage it just putting it in. All right, so we got our new one in place. We just want to make sure all of our screw holes line up, and we're going to get all them lined up, and we're going to get the screws put in. Again, being very careful. We don't want to damage the microchannel coil or the new drain pan. And we're going to take our long nut driver again and get those screws in there. Just the two screws in the back there, and you don't want to over tighten those either because it's just going into a little sheet aluminum there. So you don't want to damage that and get yourself in a situation where your screws are stripped out. All right, once we get both of those in there, we can get the rest of our stuff lined up and put in. So after that, we're going to take our front cover. We're going to grab that. Actually, first we're going to put this little bracket on, which is actually kind of a pain in the ass to get on, but it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be tight because it wants to lock that drain pan onto the cabinet of the unit, so it doesn't move back and forth and it doesn't come free. So I'm going to fight with that for a couple minutes, but once I get that in there, we'll be good to go. And then we're going to put also a screw in there to keep that from sliding back and forth. Yep, that's locked good in place there now. I'm just making sure nothing's going to move around on us. Then after that, then we're going to get our front cover in there to protect the rest of our coil there. There it is right there. We're going to, actually that's not going to go in from the bottom. It's going to slide in from the top. Then we got to make sure we get everything lined up there. That can be quite a chore getting those lined up because the A coil does kind of separate a little bit, so those screws kind of keep everything locked together. So you want to make sure everything is lined up perfect. You don't want to just start screwing the screws in there, cross-threading things, and risk shooting the screw into the coil, because that's happened before. And once you do, you're screwed. You got to get a new coil unless you're really good with brazen aluminum, which I am not. So, well, we're going to get our screws put in there. Then we're going to get our outer covers lined back up and put on. And we're going to get our, that's actually the fresh air, not the exhaust. We're going to get that lined back up and put back on. And before we put the cover back on, we're going to shoot this Viper pan and drain treatment on there. We're going to put it all in the drain pan, and we're going to put it on the lower couple inches of the coil there. Does the stuff work? I don't know. I've just started using that this year. A couple guys have sworn by it, so I'm going to use it this year. Anytime I have a chance to use it, I'm going to start using it. So we're going to douse that with it before we go ahead and put the covers back on. And then we got the cover back on, and now we're going to glue a new condensate drain on there. We got our new male fitting in place. We are going to prime everything up. Make sure you prime everything, guys, especially with dirty pipes there. You don't want to just throw glue on there. You're not making a good solid connection. So you want to prime everything and then glue it all. So we got our new drain in place there. Everything's primed, everything's glued, looking good. We're just going to step back and admire our work real quick. Make sure everything's good and tight. We're going to turn this thing on. Make sure she's cooling and make sure she's draining right. All right, pretty straightforward deal with that drain pan there. Just a handful of screws and the old one lifts right up. You can pull your pan out, slide your new one in, and you're pretty much done. Some of the easiest drain pans you'll ever see you'll have to replace. So, all right guys, in this same complex there is a unit with a low voltage short. So let's go take a look at that. By the way, guys, hit that thumbs up button for me, and please subscribe if you haven't done so already. A lot of you guys out there are watching the videos and not subscribed, and that's okay. I appreciate all the views I can get. But if you subscribe, it really helps the channel out a lot. I can really grow this thing into something special. So if you subscribe and turn notifications on, I can really blow this thing up. All right, guys, let's go take a look at this low voltage short. All right, guys. Our short is on our Y coil here. And what I've done is I've wrapped my amp probe around my R wire, and I'm initiating a Y coil at the thermostat wires there. And every time I do that, my amp draw shoots straight up on my low voltage R wire. It goes up to like 7 or 8 amps, and that's letting us know there is a short there, because we should only really have about a half of an amp anytime that happens. So I've disconnected my power to the outdoor unit, and we're going to check this contactor, because I suspect it is the contactor. Either that or it's a wire or a pressure switch or something like that. So I've disconnected them, and we're going to ohm it out. But first we're going to ohm out our new contactor. New contactor is looking like about 9.7 ohms, but look at our old one, the one existing, not even 1 ohm. So we know there's an issue with that contactor. But just for good measure, we are going to leave our contactor disconnected, and we're going to go inside, and we're going to initiate the Y coil again. And our Y coil is initiated, and our little popper is not blowing, our fuse is not blowing. So we're pretty confident we have a bad contactor here. So we've changed the contactor out. We've got it all wired back up. We've restored power to it. Unit's running. We're making cold. Looks like we're good there. We're good there. We're good to go. So that was a quick little contactor change. Very common part to change when you have a low voltage short here. All right, guys, we're just going to button this thing up, and we're going to get up out of here. Hey guys, another low voltage short found. It was on the contactor this time, pretty easy. Most of the times they're not that easy, but sometimes they are. And I'm gonna try to make more videos about low voltage shorts anytime I run into them, because I have a kind of a unique process, the way I work through them. And I'd like to get that information out there so you guys can start using this process also. A lot of guys hate working on low voltage shorts, and that's mainly because they don't have a good process, or they don't have a little popper or a resettable circuit breaker. But if you have the right tools to do it and you have a good process, you can work through them and you can get the stuff taken care of, and it's just like anything else. All right guys, well, I hope you liked today's video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content like this. All right guys, I'm off to the next one.